When I was 17, I came home to an empty house. My family had moved 2 states away without telling me. All they left was a note on the kitchen counter. It said, "You'll figure it out." I used to think they left because they were tired of pretending to love me, but the truth was worse. They never pretended at all. When I was 13, I baked my mom a birthday cake by myself. She called it clumpy. When I was 15, I tutored my brother through his finals. He called me a know-it-all and slammed the door in my face. When I was 16, I gave my dad my whole paycheck to help with bills. Later, he yelled at me and called me useless. I was always useful. I was never loved. I found out from the landlord that my family had moved. They had canceled the lease early, and I had 1 week to leave. I slept at a friend's house for 3 nights. After that, I had nowhere else to go. I ended up living in a storage unit I rented with the last of my savings. I snuck into the YMCA to shower. I ate peanut butter with a spoon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I used library computers to apply for jobs and pretended it was heartbreak. I go to therapy now because I want to stay whole. I keep a list of the people who helped me when they didn't have to. Coworkers, classmates, strangers who showed me what real support looks like. Last month, I did a podcast interview about surviving family abandonment. It hit 1 million views in 4 days. My inbox filled up with strangers thanking me for putting their pain into words. Then one email stood out. The subject line read, "You're still our daughter." It was from my mom. No apology. Just a request to talk. Then a message from my brother. "We miss you. Can we fix this?" I closed my laptop and sat with it for a long time. My therapist, Melissa, told me to take at least a week before deciding anything. So I did. I kept working. I went to the gym. I had dinner with friends. But those messages haunted me. I kept opening them, reading them, and closing them again. My mom's message felt cold and distant, like she was writing to a stranger. My brother's felt shorter, but somehow more honest. After 10 days, I wrote back to my brother first. Just one line. "It's been 12 years. What changed?" He replied within the hour. He said the podcast made him realize what they had done. He said he was only 15 when they left me, that he didn't have a choice, that he had looked me up online over the years but never had the courage to reach out. He said seeing me successful made him proud. I didn't buy all of it. If he really cared, why wait until now? I asked him directly. His next email was longer. He admitted our parents' business had failed. He admitted his wife was pregnant and medical bills were piling up. There it was. The real reason. I waited another week. Then my mom sent old family photos. Pictures of me as a baby. Pictures of us at the beach. At the bottom, she wrote, "We made mistakes. We want to make amends." I showed everything to Melissa. She reminded me I was in control, that I didn't owe anyone anything, but that closure might help me move forward either way. I decided to meet my brother first, alone, without our parents. We picked a coffee shop in Chicago, halfway between us. I almost canceled 3 times. When I finally walked in, he stood up, awkward and uncertain. I didn't hug him. We sat across from each other, like strangers. After some painful small talk, he started apologizing. "Emma, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I was just a kid. I didn't know they were planning to leave you behind until it was too late. I was too scared to stand up to them." I asked him the question that had haunted me for 12 years. "Why me?" He looked down at his coffee. "They always saw you as the strong one, the one who could handle it. They convinced themselves you'd be fine without them." I told him about the storage unit, about the peanut butter, about showering at the YMCA, and working nights at 17. His face fell apart. "I didn't know," he whispered. "They told me you chose to leave, that you had a plan, that you wanted to live with a friend's family. All lies." By the end, I wasn't sure what to think. He seemed genuinely sorry. He showed me pictures of his wife and daughter. He asked about my business. He never once asked for money, which surprised me. When we said goodbye, he hugged me. I let him, but I didn't hug back. That night, I called Melissa and told her everything. She pointed out something important. My brother kept framing himself as the victim, never fully owning his part. He was 15, not 5. Old enough to send 1 email in 12 years. He never did. Later that night, my mom called. I hadn't given her my number, so my brother must have. She cried when I answered, told me how proud she was, how she always knew I'd succeed. I let her talk herself out, then asked the same question. "Why me?" Her answer was blunt. "We were in debt, Emma. We couldn't afford 3 mouths to feed. We figured you'd go to social services and get placed with a better family. We thought we were doing you a favor." I hung up and blocked her number immediately. The next morning, I got an email from my dad. First contact in 12 years. No apology. Just a list of their problems, medical bills, a failing business, and at the very end, a request for money. Not one question about my life. I forwarded it to Melissa with the subject line. And there it is. We talked for an hour about boundaries, about the difference between helping someone and enabling them. By Monday, I had made a decision. I told my brother I was open to a relationship with him and his family, but with clear boundaries. No money. No loans. No relationship with our parents until they took full responsibility. His reply came fast. "I'm really disappointed, Emma. Our parents need help. Families should support each other. You're being selfish with your success." I didn't respond. Instead, I booked a 2-week trip to Bali. I needed distance. While I was gone, my dad sent 6 more emails, each more desperate than the last. I didn't read past the subject lines. My brother texted, asking to talk again. When I got back, I agreed to 1 phone call. He apologized again for pushing too hard. He said he was in therapy now too. He sounded calmer, less defensive. Then he mentioned our parents were visiting him and asked if I'd meet them for just an hour in public. I told him I wasn't ready. He backed off when I got quiet. The next day, he texted that our mom had cried all night and our dad was talking about driving to my city anyway. I blocked his number and told my assistant I'd be working from home for the week. On Wednesday, the doorman called up. A couple was asking for me, refusing to give their names. I told him I wasn't accepting visitors. Minutes later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was my dad. We drove 8 hours to see you. You're being childish. Thursday morning, someone pounded on my door. I froze, checked the peephole. It was them, standing in my hallway. Emma, please, my mom said through the door. We just want to talk. I didn't open it. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall until they left. I called building security and told them not to let those people up again. Then I called Melissa. She came over on her lunch break with a sandwich and sat with me while I cried. She told me this wasn't reconciliation. It was harassment. Afterward, my brother emailed, furious, saying I had humiliated our parents, that they were staying in a cheap motel because they were so desperate to see me, that his wife needed surgery, and they hoped I could help. Friday morning, I decided to leave town and visit my friend Rachel in Portland. She was one of the people who had let me sleep on her couch when I had nowhere else to go. While I was packing, my doorman called again. A woman downstairs was having what looked like a medical emergency, asking for me by name, claiming to be my mother. I told him to call an ambulance if she needed help, but I wasn't coming down. By the time I left for the airport, the lobby was empty. The doorman told me the woman had been taken to the hospital with chest pains. At the airport, my brother called, crying, saying our mom had suffered a heart attack, and it was my fault for stressing her out. I hung up and called Melissa instead. She told me firmly that I wasn't responsible for my mother's health, and that this looked like another manipulation tactic. She told me to get on the plane. I spent the weekend with Rachel. She remembered exactly how broken I had been at 17 and was furious on my behalf. It felt good to have someone so firmly in my corner. That Sunday, my dad emailed that my mom was stable and would be released Tuesday. The email ended with, "She's asking for you. Don't you think you've punished us enough?" Rachel rolled her eyes, so hard I thought they'd get stuck. "Classic guilt trip," she said. I knew she was right, but part of me still felt responsible. I flew home Monday and found flowers outside my door. The card read, "Please call us. We're staying at the Holiday Inn until Wednesday. No apology." Just another demand. I threw them down the trash chute. Tuesday, I got a text from an unknown number. A photo of my mom in a hospital bed, looking pale. She might not have much time left. Do you really want to live with this regret? I blocked the number and called Melissa. She suggested I take a break from everything and stay with a friend for a while. I agreed. Before I could leave, my doorman called again. A young woman with a small child was downstairs, claiming to be my sister-in-law. I told him to send her up. Jenny looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, holding her sleeping daughter. "I'm Jenny," she said quietly. "Michael's wife. I came alone because I wanted to talk without family drama." I let her in and offered her water. She told me she had only learned about me 3 years earlier. Michael had told her I ran away at 17 and cut off the family myself. She always thought that sounded strange, but never pushed. The podcast changed everything. She confronted him, and he finally admitted the truth. "I'm horrified by what they did to you," she said. "I insisted Michael reach out, but I had no idea they'd ask you for money. Yes, I do need surgery, but we have insurance. Your parents are the ones in financial trouble, not us." Then she told me why she really came. "You deserve to know the whole truth." She said my parents had spent years telling everyone I had abandoned the family, that I was mentally unstable, that I had stolen money from them before disappearing. She showed me old Facebook posts, my mom asking for prayers to find her troubled daughter, my dad claiming I had taken their savings and run. All of it timed years after they had actually left me behind. All of it lies to make themselves look like victims. Jenny said she had confronted my parents directly, and they admitted everything once she threatened to tell the whole family the truth. Her daughter, Lily, woke up just then, a curly-haired 3-year-old. "I want my children to know their aunt," Jenny said. "But only if you want that too. No pressure." After they left, I called Melissa and told her everything. She wasn't surprised. "Abusers often build an alternate reality where they're the victims," she explained. That night, my dad's email turned threatening. If I kept telling lies about them online, they would sue me for defamation. They claimed to have proof I had stolen from them. They said they'd go to the media if I didn't take down the podcast and pay them compensation. I forwarded it to Melissa, then to my lawyer, Marcus. He called immediately and told me the threat was empty. Truth is a full defense against defamation. He told me to save everything and not respond. The next day, my brother called in a panic. Jenny had told him about her visit, and our parents were furious, saying terrible things about her now too. He asked me to meet with him and Jenny, with Marcus present. We met at a restaurant near Marcus's office. Both of them looked exhausted and stressed. Jenny had a bruise on her arm she kept trying to hide. The story that came out was worse than I imagined. Our parents had been living off my brother for years, taking money for emergencies, criticizing his parenting. When Jenny confronted them about me, my dad had grabbed her arm hard enough to leave marks. My brother had kicked them out, and now they were staying in a motel, calling constantly, showing up at his work. I listened as my brother described being trapped in their manipulation his entire life, terrified they might hurt Jenny or the kids. Marcus asked careful questions about finances, house titles, and bank access. My brother admitted our parents were co-signed on his mortgage, still had access to his bank account, and had spare keys to his house. Marcus told them to change their locks, passwords, and accounts immediately. As we left, my brother hugged me. This time, I hugged him back. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was something. That night, my parents' numbers sent a stream of unhinged texts, accusations, and threats. I blocked them all. I called Jenny to check on their safety. They had changed the locks and were staying with friends, and were looking into a restraining order. The next morning, Jenny called, hysterical. Our parents had broken into their house. They took Lily's baby photos, important documents, and my brother's laptop, and left a note. Family matters should stay in the family. I met them at the house, where police were already taking statements. The officer seemed skeptical that grandparents would break in. Jenny showed him her bruised arm and explained the pattern of threats, but he didn't seem convinced, without more evidence. After the police left, we cleaned up together and found more missing items. My brother looked defeated. This is my fault, he said. I should have protected my family. I should have looked for you harder. I didn't disagree, but I didn't pile on either. Marcus arrived and said this changed everything. Breaking and entering was serious. He told us all to stay somewhere else and said he'd help file for emergency restraining orders in the morning. As we left, my brother got a text from our dad. 3 words. We're watching you. I told them to come stay with me. My building had security cameras and a doorman who already knew not to let our parents up. That night, the 4 of us ate takeout in my living room, talking quietly about next steps, restraining orders, police reports, and how to protect ourselves long term. The next morning, Marcus confirmed the emergency restraining orders were filed, and we'd need to appear in court the following week to make them permanent. I set up my guest room for my brother to work from, and Jenny and Lily took over my living room. My quiet apartment filled with noise, and strangely, it felt comforting. That afternoon, my doorman called about a flower delivery. I told him to check the card first. He read it to me. We know where you all are. This isn't over. I told him to refuse it and call the police if needed. I didn't tell my brother or Jenny. They were stressed enough already. That night, after everyone was asleep, I finally let myself feel everything. The fear, the anger, the grief. I cried quietly into a dish towel. In the morning, Jenny found me making coffee and asked if I was okay. I lied, and she saw right through it. It's okay not to be okay, she said. Michael cries in the shower where he thinks no one can hear. Lily keeps asking when we can go home. I asked her why she had chosen to believe me over the family she'd known for years. I always felt something was off about your parents, she said. I couldn't let my daughters grow up thinking abandoning a child was ever acceptable. We hugged for the first time. Awkward but genuine. The days that followed fell into a strange routine. Working, cooking, playing with Lily, flinching at unexpected noises, safe but not at peace. On Friday, Marcus called with good news. A detective had found security footage from a gas station showing our parents' car near my brother's house during the break-in. The restraining order hearing was set for Monday. That night, a brick came through my brother's car window in the parking garage. No note this time. The building camera showed a man in a baseball cap, face turned away, but we all knew who it was. Sunday night, while we planned for court, I got an email from my mom. Subject line: last chance. One line: if you go to court tomorrow, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Marcus screenshotted it and added it to our file, saying it would only help our case. Monday morning, we dressed carefully and drove to the courthouse in separate cars. Marcus met us outside, confident, briefcase in hand. Walking in, I spotted my parents near the entrance, looking older and smaller than I remembered. My mom saw me and moved forward, but my dad held her back. Inside the courtroom, Marcus presented our evidence calmly: the break-in, the threats, the flowers, the brick, the email. When it was my parents' turn, they had no lawyer. My dad claimed we were exaggerating, that they only wanted to reconnect. The judge asked directly if they had abandoned me at 17. My dad hesitated, mumbling about financial hardship. The judge's expression hardened. After hearing both sides, the judge granted our restraining orders. 3 years, no contact, no approaching our homes or jobs. Any violation meant arrest. As we left, my mom called my name once, softly. I kept walking and didn't look back. On the courthouse steps, my brother hugged me for real this time. "I'm sorry, Emma," he said, voice breaking, "for not protecting you then, for not finding you sooner." Then my phone buzzed. An unknown number. A photo of Lily playing in a friend's backyard, unaware she was being watched. For words underneath. "This isn't over yet." I showed my brother immediately. He called Jenny, who was already on her way to get Lily. We all met at my apartment. Jenny was clutching her daughter, crying, saying she'd never forgive herself if something happened to her. Marcus arrived with 2 police officers, who took statements but didn't seem to fully grasp how dangerous my parents had become. That night, I stood up in my living room and said I was done running, done hiding. My brother asked what I planned to do. I didn't know yet, but I knew we couldn't keep living in fear. We took turns keeping watch. Around 2 a.m., I spotted my dad's old car circling the block before parking across the street. He never got out. Technically, he wasn't violating the order, just letting us know he was watching. The next day, my brother and Jenny decided to take Lily to a hotel with better security. After they left, I called Melissa and told her everything. She asked me a question that hit hard. What did I actually want from my parents? Not what I feared, but what I wanted. I made a list. To live without fear. To have a relationship with my brother's family. To stop feeling responsible for my parents. To be free of the past. Reconciliation with my parents wasn't on that list. That afternoon, I did something I told no one about. I emailed my parents directly. "I know you're watching my building. I know you're not going to stop, so let's talk one last time. Tomorrow, noon, the coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me, No police, no lawyers. After that, you leave us all alone forever. My dad replied within minutes, "We'll be there." The next day, I arrived early, chose a table where I could see the door, and waited. They walked in at exactly noon, looking older and more tired than they had in court. They sat down without speaking. I spoke first. I didn't call this meeting to reconcile or to hear excuses. I called it to make you understand one thing. It's over. You've lost me, my brother, your grandchildren, any chance at being part of our lives. If you keep stalking us and threatening us, I will destroy you. I showed them screenshots of every threatening message, the photo of Lily. I've sent copies to everyone in your lives. I will release them if you contact any of us again. My mom cried, saying they just wanted their family back, that they were getting older. I told her she should have thought of that before abandoning her 17-year-old daughter, before lying to everyone, before breaking into my brother's house, before threatening a child. My dad got angry, calling me ungrateful, saying I owed them for raising me. I laughed in his face. Do you think you're entitled to gratitude for doing the bare minimum for 17 years before abandoning me completely? He had no answer. I stood to leave. This is your last warning. Next time you violate the order, I won't just call the police. I'll make sure everyone you know understands exactly what kind of people you are. My mom called after me, asking if I really hated them that much. I turned around. I don't hate you. I feel nothing. You're strangers to me now, and that's your loss, not mine. I walked out feeling lighter than I had in years. I called my brother and told him everything. He was upset at first that I'd gone alone, but mostly relieved someone had finally stood up to them directly. I joined my brother's family at their hotel for a few days. Lily ran to hug me and called me Annie Emma for the first time. Jenny said she was proud of me. We waited for our parents to retaliate, but nothing came. No calls, no texts, no sightings of their car. Just silence. After a week, my brother's family went home, changed their locks again, installed cameras, and started planning to move closer to my city. I went back to my own life too. Marcus confirmed the detective had verified our parents had returned to their home state. Slowly, life became normal again. My brother found a new job near me. Jenny enrolled Lily in preschool. We had dinner together every Sunday, building new traditions from nothing. I kept waiting to feel grief, or guilt, or anger about my parents. Instead, I mostly felt relief, like I had finally set down a weight I'd carried since I was 17. 6 months after that coffee shop meeting, a letter arrived, forwarded through Marcus, so my parents never learned my address. I almost threw it away unread. It was short. No excuses this time. No demands. Just an acknowledgement that they had failed as parents, that they were in counseling, that they would respect the restraining order, and that they hoped someday I might be willing to hear a real apology, but understood if that day never came. I keep that letter in my desk drawer. Not because I'm ready to forgive them, but because it represents something important. My right to set boundaries. My right to choose who belongs in my life. My right to define family on my own terms. Last week, Lily turned 4. We threw her a party at my apartment, balloons everywhere, a cake from a fancy bakery, presents piled on the coffee table. She ran around in a princess dress, laughing. My brother grilled on the balcony. Jenny took photos. Friends stopped by all day. At one point, I stepped into the kitchen alone and watched through the doorway as my brother spun Lily in circles, as Jenny laughed at something a friend said, as my apartment, once so empty and quiet, filled with noise and life. I thought about that note on the counter 12 years ago. You'll figure it out. And I had. Just not the way they meant. I figured out what family should look like, what love should feel like, and what I deserved all along. I'm not saying everything is perfect. I still have trust issues. I still go to therapy every week. I still have nightmares about being left behind. I still flinch when my doorbell rings without warning. But I'm healing. We all are, building something new out of the broken pieces of our past. Something stronger. Something chosen. Something real. People sometimes ask if I'll ever reconcile with my parents, if I'll ever let them meet Lily, if I'll ever forgive them. I don't have answers yet. Maybe someday. Maybe never. But I know this much. I'm not defined by what they did to me anymore. I'm defined by what I built after. By the person I chose to become. By the family I chose to create.